What's up guys, Super K Sharpening here. I pulled out my Wicked Edge Go today. I figured I'd mix it up in the videos. I already have this knife set up. I already have the angle adjusted. To adjust the angle on this guy, you unscrew these knobs and then these arms will move forward towards the knife or away from the knife. But like I said, I already have it set up. This one is coming at 25.45 degrees on each side. And the system itself, it comes with the Wicked Edge Go comes with a stone set from, it's 200, I said from, I didn't mean that. It goes 200 to 600 grit. So this system, I mean, you could get a sharp knife. I mean, 600 grit is a very sharp knife. If you spend your time like you need to on 200 and get the knife set up the way you want it, you can have a very sharp knife at 600 grit. Very awesome stone set that comes with it. And then they just slide in these open spots here. I'll actually kind of partially slide that in there so y'all can see. So it slides in there and everything's compact and it comes in a very, very, very nice carrying bag. That's very cool. Today I have my stones laid out from my Wicked Edge Gen 3. So I use those because I have the full set. Like I said, I've already found the angle set up for it. That's why the 800 and 1000 grit stones are already on there. So we're gonna take those off and we are ready to sharpen. So the hardest thing about this system is setting up the angle. There's no sort of ratcheting system. What I mean by ratchet is this, once you unscrew this knob, this thing can slide really easy. So you kind of have to find the sweet spot in terms of tightness and looseness on this to where these you can just barely tap in order to change it. And you use your angle cube like you would any other Wicked Edge or sharpening system to find your angle. And that's how I knew my angle was 25-45. But it's the only thing that's a little tricky with the system. Not a downfall, not a negative by any standpoint. The system is really, really great. This is extremely well built. This whole system, I mean, it's a very solid piece. And like I said, everything's very compact. It slides into it. All the pieces slide into itself. These little notches over here are for the guide rods. And then there's another one on this side that holds the Allen key that comes included. And then everything else stores in the bag. But I'm sitting here rambling, talking about the system. Let's go ahead and get after it. We'll start sharpening today. See what we can do for this guy. And that squeak you hear is the stone sliding up and down on the guide rod. So what I'm doing with my left hand, as y'all may have learned or you may not know, is I'm checking for a burr. I'm checking for a burr with my left finger to see if the metal has rolled over to the other side yet, and that's what we want. And we don't have a burr just yet, so we're close. There we go, that got it. Now I'm gonna try something. I advocate this oil a lot, this Lansky Sharpener's Nathan's honing oil, or Nathan's natural honing oil. I really like it. What I sometimes do is I'll put a drop or two even on these Wicked Edge diamond stones, which isn't required. I still like it. So we're gonna try that, and I'm gonna try to put a drop on the guide rod itself to see if it helps with the squeak. I'm sure y'all probably don't want to hear that throughout these videos the entire time. So hopefully that helps. I have never tried it on the guide rod, so I'm not sure, but we shall see. Nope. Okay. Well, sorry about that, guys. Just bear with the squeak. I don't really hear it. I'm so used to it. I've used this system a lot and I love it. So we have a burr that we rolled over to the left side. So now we're gonna shift it over to the right side. All right, so that's equal. So we did 70 on the right, and then we just did 70 on the left, and we have taken that burr to the other side and rolled it over. So what I normally do when I'm sharpening any knife is after I get the burr on both sides, I sit here and I'll swipe both sides. So I'll do very light pressure on both sides. As always, there's light pressure on every stone that you use. You want to let the stone do the work and not you do the work. The stone is aggressive enough at 100 grit or any of the grits to do the work on its own. You don't need to press down or lean into it real hard. It's just not needed. So from here, what I would do is I do some light passes, really, really light passes to try to remove the burr. So that was 10 per side. We still have a little bit of burr right there, so we're gonna do some more. Perfect, that got it. So now we'll shift over to the 200 grit, which is the orange. I'm just checking for the burr. We've got it here. Right at the very tip needs just a little bit of work. Remember, you have to get a burr for the full length of the blade. That got it. So we did 30 on the right, plus a little bit of work on the tip. So we'll do 30 on the left, plus a little bit of work on the tip. Everything's even. Okay, so there's 30, and then a little extra on the front, on the tip. All right, so then we got the burr for the full length of the blade again. So now I'm gonna do a couple passes with the 200 to just get rid of the burr before we move on to the 400. Really light pressure. No burr, perfect. So we're good to move forward. So now I'm gonna put these back in my case over here, get those out of the way. And like I said earlier, we move on to the 400, 600 grit, which are the green and the yellow. So we're gonna start with the yellow side, which is the 400 grit. The green side is the 600 grit. As always, wipe off your blade. No cross-contamination. You don't want any of the metal shavings from the previous stones to contaminate any of your other stones. So we got a clean blade with a clean towel. So I always start on the right. It's just personal preference. I like to start on the right and then work my way back over. That's how I've always sharpened. It just kind of keeps me on track. Checking for my burr again. And we have it for the full length of the blade. That was 30 on the right, so we'll do 30 on the left. There we go. Now we'll do the couple passes with the 400 grit to remove the burr, and then we'll switch over to the green side, which is 600 grit. Really light pressure. Perfect. So now flip those guys over, take your rag, wipe off your blade. And I'm gonna put a dot or two of this honing oil on the 600s. Spread it around. You don't have to use this with the Wicked Edge. That's one of the cool things about the system. You don't have to have it as what's considered a wet sharpener, so you don't have to have any oil or lubricant on the stones. I like trying this every once in a while. I'll use the honing oil, and I feel like sometimes I can get better results out of it. So as I mentioned before, we're going to start with the right side and develop the burr, and then we'll move on to the left. And we have a burr for the full length of the blade again. So now we'll switch to the left side. See if I can change that angle for y'all. There we go. We have a burr for the full length of the blade again. So from here, we'll remove the burr with the 600 grit, and then we'll move on to the 800 1000s. Really light pressure. Feel a little bit of a burr right back here in this section, so I'm going to do a couple more passes to get rid of that. Focusing right there on that area. Once again, really light pressure. Perfect, so that got that. So now we'll move to the 800 1000s, and I'm gonna put these guys up. So we'll start with the light blue side, which is this side, which is the 800, and then the purple is the 1000. I'm going to do a dot or two of oil on each one of these as well. So that was 30 on the right, and we already have a burr. For whatever reason today, I love it. 30 is our magic number. So 30 on the right means 30 on the left. And I've mentioned it throughout this video, and I'll say it again, but pressure is key. So you want no pressure really at all, especially with these higher grit stones. These stones do a lot of work, and you don't need to add any pressure to it. These stones work so well that it's just the weight of the stone. So literally you can set it on there and just make your pass, and it works perfect. So you don't have to lean into it, you don't have to push, you don't have to do any of that. And by doing so, you have a cleaner scratch pattern, which can help lead to a more mirrored edge. So we shifted it over to that side. That's perfect. So now we're going to do some passes on both sides simultaneously, and we'll remove the burr, and then we'll flip the stones around and go to the 1000 grit. No burr, that's perfect. So always wipe off your blade. I do it probably a couple times in between changing into stones. So I'm gonna do a dot or two of oil on the 1000 grits. Once again, if y'all forgot the oil, I use the Lansky, I guess, / Nathan's honing oil. It's made by Lansky, but it's Nathan's natural honing oil, and this stuff is incredible. I use this for all my sharpening systems. And then use a different finger, spread the oil, and then, like I've always said, I start on the right side. See if 30 is still the magic number. Yep. All right, so that was 30 on the right. We're gonna do 30 on the left. We have the burr for the full length on the left side, so we're gonna shift it over. So 30 on the left side. And 30. And we have the burr for the full length, so now we'll do the simultaneous passes. So 1 to 1 to remove the burr, and then we'll go up to the 2200 grit, and then ultimately we'll move our way to the microns. No burr. So now we're gonna go to the 2200 grit. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Why not? We are gonna pull out these guys. These are my ceramics. So we have 1200 and 1600. We're gonna throw these in today. Why not? This video isn't very long, so we get to play with these today. And then we will still do the 2200, 3000, and then the 1.4 and 0.6 micron. This video hasn't taken too long, which is nice. So y'all get to see the addition of these today, which these are pretty awesome. These will help you get that mirrored finish as well. And I don't draw a burr with these. I just do equal passes on each side. So whatever I do on the right, obviously, as y'all understand, you do on the left. So, and I do them at the same time. I don't focus on one side, then the other. I just do them at the same time. Very light pressure with these, very, very light. And that's already very sharp. Let's see if we can try this. So I'm gonna take my scratch paper, that's the number 70, that's my counts that I do every once in a while. If I have a pause break and I'm telling y'all something, that's what that number is. It meant 70 on the right. Let's see if we can cut some paper already. So we can already cut paper. That bottom one is a nice cut. Let's see if we can get it again. I want to see if I can convey to y'all how sharp this is already. So we just got a little fold in the paper there, and it's cut. So once we get to the higher microns, it'll cut even better. But I mean, that gives you representation. You already have a sharp knife. So now we're moving on to this side, which is 1600. Same thing with these, especially with these, is very light pressure. These aren't diamonds, these are actually ceramics. So now, I don't think I did it, I may have. We're gonna go to the 2200, 3000 grit. So we'll put those up. I wanted to make sure I didn't do that out of sequence, because I would have, if I did the 2200, then the ceramics, I would have been going down in the grit to go back up in the grit. So I know I didn't do that, so we're good to go. So we wipe off our blade again. We already have a very nice edge on there. So we're gonna start with the gray side, which is the 2200. And then once again, dot or two of the oil. Not needed, I just like to use it. Then we'll start on the right, like always. And I'm gonna keep going a little bit. We don't have a full burr just yet. There we go, I got it. Perfect. So now we'll do the equal passes on each side, and then we'll go on to the ceramics. And I may have mentioned it earlier, but the ceramics I don't draw a burr. So then we'll switch to 3000, and once again, drop it to oil. All right, got our burr again. Perfect. Let's try the paper cut test again, see if we can get it. There we go. So, as y'all can see, it's cutting even better now. First try wasn't the most impressive, but trust me when I tell you, it's still a very sharp knife. So now we're going to move lastly to our ceramics. So we have the 1.4 as the purple, and then 0.6 as the white. Then we will be finished up, guys. And like I said, with the ceramics, I don't draw a burr. I just do multiple passes on each side. Very, very light. I know it doesn't come through on the video, but that is a very uniformly scratched knife. And what I mean by that is our progression was perfect. So what I'm seeing over here on the left side, because I have my light source coming down into the blade like that on the left side, and it's very uniform. There's not any sort of scratches that I would consider being out of place. And what I'm getting at by telling you all this is if you went to go to do the strops after you did the 0.6 micron, you'd be very close to a mirror edge, if not having a perfectly mirrored edge. I know y'all love that mirrored edge as well as I. You get such an incredibly sharp knife when you have a mirrored edge. So we're gonna finish up today with 0.6. If you were to go the strop route, what you would have to do is you would take your 2200 and 3000 grit stones and put them back on here, and then you would lower the degrees on here by 2 degrees. So you need to take out your angle cube. We said this knife, if I'm not mistaken, was 25-45. If I mentioned that when I started out, this knife was set at 25-45. So what you would do is you would go 25-24, 23-45. So 23-45 and 23-45 for your leather strops, and that's where I would strop it. I always lower it 2 degrees whenever I use my strops. But with this one, what I'll probably do is I have a strip of leather that I normally just hand strop with. But let's finish this up today, guys. The more work you do with these 0.6 microns, the better off you'll be when you move on to the strops. So what you're doing with each stone is you're basically erasing the scratch pattern from the previous stone. So if you spend the time, like we did today, and you erase the scratch pattern from each stone and create a new one with the higher grit stone, that's how you get those mirrored edges. And it's also, it's a lot to do with the pressure. That's what I've been saying throughout these videos, is when you don't press really hard with the stones, you're not making really deep scratches. So if you think of it in terms like that, if you're not pressing hard on the stones, it's less work to create a new, finer scratch pattern. You won't see those deep scratches, or you won't have those mirrored edges that have a real deep scratch in there that you'll see that will come through really easy if you don't press really hard. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. And that is a very sharp knife. It's what I call sticky sharp. You'll put your finger on top of it very carefully, and if you push horizontally to one side, it will catch on your fingerprint, if that makes any sense. So you'll feel it. It's very sharp. But that's it, guys. That's sharpening the Z Hunter. Let's unclamp it and try a paper test. I'm sorry about the length of the video. This one was pretty long, but I wanted to show you all the full process in terms of sharpening with the Wicked Edge Go, which is such a fantastic system. So there you have it, the Z Hunter. I can't get the edge to come through with my light source, but let's see what it does to paper. Take this little tape off. I'm gonna get a fresh sheet of notebook paper here. Got a little sheet there. How about that? Look at that, we're cutting some curly cues. When you can cut curly cues like that, you know you've got a very sharp knife. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'd appreciate any likes, subscriptions, or comments. If there's something you want to see me sharpen, let me know. I try to make all the videos that y'all request. Sometimes I don't have the materials, or I have things in front of me that I can use it to make a video, excuse me. So bear with me on that, but I'll try to keep putting these videos out. You hit that subscribe button and the bell button, you'll see every time I have a video coming out. Happy sharpening to all y'all. Y'all stay safe. Thanks for watching.